Welcome to Conversations, a weekly audiocast featuring interviews with leading investment strategists and recognized financial professionals. Brought to you by the Market Technicians Association.
This is Conversations, the official MTA Podcast Series, and today's guest is Jeanette Young. Jeanette Young, CFP, CMT, MS, is author of Option Queen Letter, a weekly newsletter issued and published every Sunday, and The Options Doctor, published by John Wiley & Son in 2007, is the director of the CMT program for the Market Technicians Association and a current AAPTA board member. Jeanette has been a Wall Street professional since 1981, where she began her professional career with the Thompson McKinnon Securities Company. Under the guidance of Jack Solomon, she honed her skills as a technical analyst. Her career includes portfolio management, syndication, option strategist, hedger, operations principal, bond principal, pit trader, and general market trader. Jeanette worked for the NYBOT, where she produced, wrote, and aired 2 market reports daily covering the financials, currencies, and the softs. She has been a frequent guest on Fox, CNBC, Bloomberg, Yorba TV, CNN, and others. She is a member of ICE, COMEX, and NYSE Life. She is also a member of the Adelphi University President's Council. Welcome to the program, Jeanette.
Oh, thanks for having me. This should be a fun few minutes of conversation about the CMT program.
So you are currently at the Market Technicians Association. Can you tell me about your current role there?
I was hired almost about 5 years ago, it'll be 5 years in November, when the board of directors decided to hire a full-time CMT charter holder as a director of the CMT program. In other words, that I was hired to put together and work with subject matter experts in bringing forth those wonderful exams that you all have to take now. We've improved them greatly. We've cleaned them up. We're constantly making this program better and more thorough so that you're better prepared to go for that first or second job interview where you can really get your foot in the door, so that when someone asks you, do you know about Elliott Wave, you can clearly say, yes, I do. What would you like to know?
Well, let's start with what are the benefits of being a CMT. You said getting your foot in the door for those interviews. Is there anything beyond that for having the credential?
Absolutely. It's a credential. It's a certification. It's something that you're saying to the rest of the free world who cares to look, I've taken 3 examinations, much as the CFA or Chartered Financial Analyst has, or the CFP, the Certified Financial Planner has. I've taken these examinations, which are rigorous examinations, and I've passed them. And the Market Technicians Association has awarded me this charter because they believe, according to my performance on my examinations and my application to the Market Technicians Association, that I'm a highly qualified individual that can perform the tasks you are asking me to perform. Now, having said that, they'll look at you and grunt, probably. But the most important thing you're going to take away from the certification program is education. Education is supreme and very, very important for you to have because it lets you outperform your peers. Technical analysis, after all, represents, in the study of it and looking at charts, tells you everything you need to know about whatever issue you're looking at. It's telling you who's buying, not who, but it's telling you if people are buying or if people are selling or if institutions are buying or selling. I mean, you can glean from that information about what the future or the likely future of that security or issue will be. And this puts you ahead of the guy who's just reading a balance sheet and saying, well, WorldCom has really, really good earnings, and Enron had spectacular earnings, and I really don't understand why it's dropping below the trend line, and it's really waterfalling to the downward edge of the chart. I don't understand it, but the balance sheet tells you it's just terrific and wonderful. And a technical analyst will say, well, I do respect what's seen on a balance sheet. action of the market is telling me something different is going on. And it's telling me that I shouldn't be there. And no, I shouldn't look for a bottom until it's told me that it's made a bottom, and it hasn't done that yet.
Hmm. Now, has the MTA been growing as an organization? And if so, what would you attribute that to?
The Market Technicians Association has been growing because people are seeing the value in our charter, and they're seeing the value of the knowledge that we're bringing to them. I mean, this is a really cheap education if you really want to look at the dollars and cents of it. For a mere under $2,000, if you're clever and smart and don't have to repeat taking the exam several times, you have attained some credibility in the outside world. I mean, if you look at other certification programs, they cost an awful lot more. So we really are very thorough, very good at what we do, and very reasonable.
Mm-hmm. So for the CMT credential, how long has that been around, and how has it changed in recent years?
Oh, it really has changed. It's been around this is coming on to our 40th anniversary. So I think the first charters were awarded in the 70s or the late 70s or 80s. And we've morphed from a two-level exam program with a paper as a third, very much as the CFTE MFTA is currently. We've morphed this into a three-level examination, which is a much better way of finding out whether you really know it all. So we've morphed from a bunch of people sitting together, writing exams and presenting exams, to an organization that has hired a test administrator, which is Prometric. We work with Prometric on this, with psychometrically evaluated exam questions and a global presence and a global application. So we went from 10 guys sitting in a room to 4,500 people globally that are members of the Market Technicians Association and over 1,200 charter holders.
Assume I don't have the credential, what is involved for me to go from no credential to finishing all three exams?
Well, there are two folds in this thing. The one fold is attaining membership status, which is what you must attain to become a charter holder, and that requires a certain amount of experience in the field. And we say that you have to have 3 years experience in the financial industry, not as a trader for your own money, but involved in managing portfolios in some way using technical analysis to help your clientele or your research department understand the market. So that's one fold of it. The second fold of it, of course, is passing the 3 examinations. The first 2 examinations are multiple choice, single response answers. No, they're not trick questions in there. We're very serious about this. We don't push around decimal points just to trick you. That's not our goal. Our goal is to understand that you understand the material. That's all we want to know. We want to know, do you understand it? Do you get it? So that's the first 2 exams. The third exam is a very intense exam, and it basically puts you in a position of a research analyst where you have to produce analysis in a short time, and it has to be pretty good, thorough analysis. And we do ask about all different kinds of charting. We have point and figure, we ask candlesticks, we talk about Elliott Wave, we talk about Dow theory, we talk about some behavioral finance, and of course there's the ethics component of the exam, which is this year worth less points, but we still have to pass it.
I missed that. What area is worth less points this year?
It's worth less points. We used to have the ethics points. It used to be worth 30 points, which means you have 30 minutes. Points are how long it should take you to complete the exam question, not what its weighting is. We don't disclose that. So we used to say it takes 30 minutes to complete these 10 little vignette stories, but we've reduced it to 10 because it should take you no more than 10 minutes to go through that thing and say, well, the guy's in violation, the guy is not in violation, he did this and this and this. And seriously, we don't even ask you what the code number is because we don't care. We just want we want to know that you know that there's a violation, or we want to know whether you can understand that there is no violation. And that's always possible.
What are typical problem areas that you see from CMT candidates?
One typical problem I see is they wait till the last minute to sign up. And then they email me and say, if I could only read one book, which book would it be? And I generally respond that you're in deep trouble and you can't just pass this exam by reading one book. We assigned 4. So they don't take it seriously enough until their feet are to the fires, and that's when they realize they have to do it. And then they think. Then the other problem they seem to have is they seem to believe that if they do practice exam after practice exam after practice exam, they'll have enough knowledge to get through this exam, and that's not the case. It doesn't work that way. And, oh, by the way, our practice exams are never questions on our exams. So you're not going to have a question on the exam the same as the practice exam. Will not happen.
Are there test strategies that are successful?
The biggest and best test strategy I can tell you right now is to read the books, outline the chapters, study the materials, and if you've done that, you will recognize the answer because it'll be clear.
What do you do when you get
All right.
a bad question? What color shirt was Charles Dow wearing when he saw this buy signal on the chart below?
Okay. You don't get those kind of questions. Let me explain to you why. Excuse me about that. We pre-test questions. So when you see our CMT1 exam, it has 132 questions. 12 of those questions are pre-test questions. You will not be graded on them, but what we do is we find out how you scored on those exam questions. We psychometrically evaluate them. That means, did the smartest guy get it right only, and the lowest scoring guy not get it right? Did the average guy get it right? Did the lowest scoring guy get it right, and the brightest one not get it right? I mean, so we have all these statistics, and if the exam question, if like 95% of the exam takers, except for ethics questions always score very high, get it right, then something's wrong with the question. It's way too easy. So we have all these statistics before we ever put an exam question into the exam. And oh, by the way, when we test everybody on this exam that we're putting forth and giving you, we redo the psychometric evaluation on all the questions. So we may have some old questions and we may say, oh my goodness, these are too easy, or the candidates are getting confused between the distractor B and C, so maybe there's something wrong with the question, and we'll look at it. These are flagged items, and it's not just me that looks at it, but a group of me and 9 subject matter experts that review these studies once they come out. So these questions have been very well studied, and there's no red shirt on Charles Dow.
Very good. What advice do you have for the CMT candidates?
All right. I forgot to say one thing about the exams. On CMT3, this is some advice I would give the CMT3 candidate in particular. If you don't know the answer, this is a 4-hour exam, and it's going to take you every bit of 4 hours to finish it. So rather than making up an answer and hoping that if you throw enough against the wall, something will stick, answer the questions you know. If in the end you have extra time and you feel you'd like to give a stab at something you may or may not know, then do it. But I suggest that you answer the question that is asked and don't fill it up with, for example, if I'm asking you about a certain period of time between January 1889 and June of 1889, don't tell me about yesterday. That's not what I'm asking about. I'm asking about a certain segment of time, and I'm asking you to look at analysis at that segment, not before, not after. So answer the question. That I also have another problem with. Many candidates don't read the questions. On CMT 1 and 2 also, there may be a negative question. Which answer, of all the answers, which answer is not true? Okay, so that's a reverse of true, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not true. you believe in all except, and except will be bolded so you see that it's an opposite. So people just don't read the questions.
You only have 4 hours. It's like a reality show, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You got to get it done.
You got to get it done. And the smartest thing to do is, we give you a chart package, and that package is going to be destroyed after you leave anyway, so you can make little notes on it. Like if you think your brain's, like all the information's going to fall out of your head before you get to the end, you can scratch it down and write it down. And that way you'll be assured that it didn't fall out of your head and you'll remember it when it comes time to write that essay.
Great.
Just remember the chart books are shredded. They're gone. We don't read them. We don't see them. Everything you want us to read, you must type into the computer.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter if it's poor English, as long as we understand it. Spelling doesn't count. Grammar doesn't count. Punctuation doesn't count. Just remember, somebody has to read it and understand it. So if you're making a word that you don't know and you're trying to spell it, sound it out.
Okay. Is there anything you'd like to add before we go?
Well, I want everybody to succeed, of course, on this examination. And I want you all to understand that this is very important information that you're learning. And I was a pit trader, and I was in the pit, and I was a market maker in options, and I used, and I'd say 90% of the people on the floor with me, we all use technical analysis. So it's important. It tells you a lot. It tells you what's going on in the world. You're not living in a cave and just looking at numbers. You're looking at actual behavior and actual emotions and actual trades. So they're telling you an awful lot of information about what you need to know. And that's technical analysis.
Well, thank you for your time today, Jeanette.
Oh,
you're
quite welcome.
Today's guest has been Jeanette Young, and that concludes today's MTA podcast. From LexingtonCapitalLLC.com, I'm Lance McDonald, together with recording engineer Shane Skwarek at the MTA, reminding you that price is always right.